Hey everybody, Kane here, and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one, we're going back to the airship. So as the days go by, people are asking me what they should be getting from the airship. Because majority of us, including myself, have already got enough experience cards, we got enough advanced boxes for the artifacts, and after that, people don't know what they should be getting and whether or not what they are getting is worth it. So, before we do that, I still have to go over the exploration because even if I say it multiple times, people are not actually doing it properly. You have to cover your dailies every single day. The thing is, even if you don't require the building materials and you require any of these, what these dailies provide is double the amount of coins, which turn to account upgrades, and double the amount of special resources, which further go and become account upgrades. So if you are going and maxing out these, you get, yes, you get more of these materials, but you're getting less coins and you're getting less special materials, which again turn into free resources. So max out your dailies and then go for hero or universal stuff after that. Always max out your dailies. And if able, keep this up 24/7. It's very useful. After that, we have Temple. So in Temple, I only focus specific things, and only if they meet what I require for the account. So that is Divine Spirit Stone. My pet is still not 5 stars. Probably not for another half a year. So I require this, I always buy it. After that, I'll probably stop buying it or try to buy it for a new pet 3 years into the future, perhaps, because that's what's it gonna cost. But aside from that, this is very good. Then we have the confidential box or custom confidential box. I buy it every single week. Then we have literature materials. At the very beginning of when they added this, it seemed pretty good. But as the days go by, this seems like it costs a lot, but it doesn't necessarily meet the cost, at the very least in my eyes. So I'm not sure if I should be buying this. I'm sort of on the edge of dropping this and just trying to get something else instead of these, because they kind of add up a decent amount of coins to an uncertain amount of a question mark if it does provide a lot. Aside from that, I have potential potions. I don't have a lot of them, and if I would say add up the coins that I spend, or how do I put it, convert it into utility boxes, it turns to a tiny bit less than 5 utility boxes for potential potions. Aside from that, the Dragon Blood, we cannot really give value on it because it's not in the utility boxes. However, this particular resource we require to level our dragons. My dragon dies in an instant. If you've seen any of my streams, he has the ability to die in 6 seconds. Yes, I have prism arrays, I have 1 tanky dragon ability. I think I need 2 to really keep it alive, but there is no way for me to get it, so it's gonna be dying. So I'm trying to level it. I don't know the exact value on this particular material. Maybe whenever they add it to custom utility boxes, this would make it completely irrelevant. I have no idea, but for now, this resource has a little bit more value because there is no other way to acquire it. Aside from that, you have to judge what you require on your account and how much it poses as the utility box conversion. So in terms of the coins and the amount you get from utility boxes, this turns to more than 5 utility boxes worth, because that's going to be 2,600. You get 500 sapphires per 1 utility box. So this turns to 5.2 utility boxes worth it. This is 5 utility boxes worth it, but the cost of coins is too much, so the conversion rate makes it, say, kind of less than 5 utility boxes, so it's already becoming less worth it. Then we have stuff like prisms. I do believe I mentioned a while back that prisms were not really that good. Before the new utility boxes, this was actually incredibly awesome to get. Because if we would take into consideration that the previous utility box was giving us 6 rare prisms per one box, in here we were getting excuse me, about what, if we would use the same conversions, I mean, this was almost 4 or 5 utility boxes for half the cost of what we would be getting other resources. But now, since the, say, utility boxes have been upgraded, this just sort of meets up the cost. Maybe this is a tiny bit above the usual conversion from Airship to utility boxes. So we, from 3 utility boxes, we get 27 right now. In here we get 25, so the transfer is about like 2.5 or so if we would just split it in half. So it still has value, but I think this is somewhere similar, maybe a bit less value than that of the rare prism. So both of these are still worth it, but not as worth it as they were before. Before, they were incredibly worth it and should have been bought majority of the time. And I actually was buying them majority of the time. Aside from that, we have to spend the special resources. Now, many people would go and spend them on this particular melee shop. Now, yes, you would question, why am I spending this, right? So we're gonna come back to the melee shop in just a second. But before we leave and come back, I do have to let you know that majority of these resources that you're spending on the melee shop are wasted. And by wasted, we also have to take into consideration the utility box conversions. So we have 15 materials, right? So if we use 15 of these materials and we completely ignore this thing right here because we can craft so many of them that it doesn't matter, we get less than one utility, less than half of a utility box if we choose to craft this particular prism. If we choose this, we get 0.25, like 1/4 of a prism, 1/4 of a utility box for the same amount of cost. Like, it's incredibly not worth it to use these materials on the melee shop. In this one, we get 2.5 utility boxes worth it, or 2.2 for what? This is more than 3 times the amount. So this, in a sense, is quite a bit more worth it than that of these two in terms of the crafting. But then again, should you really be getting this? And the answer in my own eyes is no, because it still costs too much. And this material is important. This in particular, the clay. And you could argue this is somewhat decent-ish. And then it kind of leaves the point, what else should you be getting? Because all of these are not worth it. Like this, look at it. This is insane. This is insanely not worth it. Like, this is probably below half of a utility box worth it or so if you just add up the same values as we calculated before. And in the end, like, let's go into the process shop and explain it a little bit better. So we go on to the heroes, right? We have same amount of, say, the clays, and we can get 8 of these rare prism crystals. So before the update to utility boxes, this was actually granting more than 1.25 of a utility box for 15 clay. Now, if you remember, in the metal shop, we were exchanging other resources in the value of 15 for less than zero point 0.5 or less than 0.25 of a utility box. So if we had this that was providing more than one utility box worth it, this is extreme value in the process shop. Now you have to take into consideration, if we compare it with the new box, this is less than one, but still poses a lot of value if you still require it. Personally, what I craft right now is the Armory materials, because I select most of my utility boxes for prisms. However, my Armory is a tad bit lacking, and I spend most of my materials, and unfortunately it's only three materials: the clay, the gravel, the pig iron, and of course pig iron again on Armory. And what happens is I have too many wooden boards left over, and I have nowhere else to spend it. So I spend it on the Covenant, which I still require. Yes, not incredibly worth it, but there is nowhere else to put it, so I put it into something that's still sort of useful. So this is where I spend it. In terms of Armory, I think there can be other builds right now instead of over focusing fully on resistances. And this is what I will also be trying to do and test. Because the thing is, I don't really value 0.1% resistance for inserting 5 level 4 or 5 level 5 stones or stuff like that. I've seen those dragons die in an instant. I've seen those dragons get deleted, removed, whatever. And in a sense, I think many of the people just completely waste some of the slots. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna try out something new, and in a sense, whether or not this works, this is going to still go as some tests. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. Plus, if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. In return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of events, PvP formations, and stuff like that. Plus, I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.